The sun had just begun to rise, casting golden rays across the quiet streets, in a small town where everyone seemed busy chasing their daily routines. A young man named Michael sat by his window, staring at the world with a restless heart. His life, though comfortable in many ways, felt empty. He had achieved what most people dream of: success in his career, a decent home, and friends who admired him, but something deep inside whispered that there was more waiting for him, something extraordinary. Michael had always believed in God, but lately his faith had been tested. Challenges at work, misunderstandings with friends, and personal doubts had weighed heavily on him. He often found himself asking, "Why do I feel like I'm missing something, even when everything seems perfect?" It was during one of these quiet, reflective mornings that he noticed something unusual: a tiny, almost imperceptible voice in his heart. "Michael," the voice said, "big blessings are coming your way. Are you ready to receive them?" At first, he shook his head, thinking it was just his imagination. But the feeling persisted. A warmth filled his chest, unlike anything he had ever felt before. It was gentle yet powerful, comforting yet urgent. He knew, deep down, that this message was real. Over the next few days, Michael began noticing small signs everywhere. A stranger smiling at him on the street, a forgotten bill being paid by someone who owed him, a sudden idea at work that brought him immense praise. It felt as if the universe, or God himself, was setting the stage for something greater. Yet, Michael also understood that blessings were not always just gifts to be received. They were tests, lessons, and opportunities for growth. He remembered the words of an old mentor: "The greatest blessings often arrive wrapped in challenges. Prepare your heart, and you will see them clearly." One evening, as Michael walked home from work, he found himself drawn to a small church he had passed by countless times but never entered. That day, something inside told him to go in. The doors creaked as he stepped inside, and the faint scent of incense and old wood filled the air. The church was empty except for a single priest, sitting quietly in the front pew. "Welcome, Michael," the priest said, as if he had been expecting him. "God has been speaking to you, hasn't he?" Michael froze, unsure how the priest could know, but the words resonated deeply. He nodded, his voice barely a whisper. "Yes, I think he has. But I don't understand what it all means." The priest smiled warmly. "Blessings, my child, often begin with understanding. God is preparing you for a journey of faith, courage, and abundance. The blessings you are about to receive are not only for you, but also for those whose lives you will touch." Michael felt a surge of hope and anticipation. For the first time in months, the weight of uncertainty seemed to lift, replaced by a sense of purpose. Little did Michael know the very next day would set in motion a series of events that would transform his life forever, events that would challenge his faith, expand his heart, and reveal blessings far beyond what he had imagined. The next morning, Michael woke up with a strange sense of anticipation. The warmth he had felt in the church lingered in his heart. He got ready for work but couldn't shake the feeling that something significant was about to happen. As he walked out of his apartment, he noticed a small folded note on his doorstep. Curious, he picked it up. The note read simply, "Trust the path. Blessings are near." Michael's heart raced. Who could have left this? And how did they know about his prayer? He looked around, but no one was in sight. He tucked the note into his pocket and continued his walk, a strange mix of excitement and nervousness bubbling inside him. At work, things began to shift in subtle ways. A long-pending project that had been stuck for months suddenly gained momentum. Colleagues who were usually distant and competitive started offering help and support. Even his boss seemed unusually encouraging. Michael realized that these weren't coincidences, they were signs, confirmations that he was on the right path. During lunch, Michael's phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Prepare yourself for the unexpected." Your faith will be rewarded. A chill ran down his spine, but it wasn't fear. It was a mixture of awe and curiosity. Michael knew that life was about to take a dramatic turn. That evening, he decided to visit the church again. The priest was waiting for him, a gentle smile on his face. I see the signs are appearing more clearly. The priest said. God speaks in many ways through people, circumstances, and even the smallest details. The important thing is to remain attentive and open. Michael nodded. But sometimes I feel scared. What if I make a mistake? What if I fail? The priest's eyes twinkled with wisdom. Fear is natural, Michael. But remember, blessings are never given to those who stand still. They come to those who move forward, even when the path is uncertain. Trust God, and the way will become clear. Over the next few days, Michael noticed even more signs. A friend he hadn't spoken to in years reached out, bringing encouragement and unexpected opportunities. A financial burden he had struggled with was suddenly resolved through an unexpected source. And each night, Michael felt a growing sense of peace, as if an invisible hand was guiding him. Yet, with each blessing came challenges. Not everyone around him understood the changes in his life. Some colleagues grew envious. Some friends doubted his decisions, and his own doubts occasionally resurfaced. But Michael had learned to pause, reflect, and pray. He understood that blessings often arrive with tests to strengthen faith and character. One evening, Michael received an invitation to a special event at the town hall. Seminar on personal growth and purpose. Something about the invitation felt significant. He decided to attend, sensing that this event might be a key turning point. The hall was packed. People from all walks of life had gathered, each seeking guidance and inspiration. The speaker was a renowned motivational figure, but as Michael listened, he realized the message went deeper than mere motivation. It spoke directly to his heart. "You are ready," the speaker said, "ready to embrace the blessings that God has prepared for you. But remember, these blessings are not just for comfort, they are for purpose. They will challenge you, transform you, and allow you to impact the lives of others in ways you never imagined." Michael left the event with a renewed sense of mission. He felt a fire ignite within him, a calling he could no longer ignore. God was speaking, and he could feel the blessings drawing near. That night, as he lay in bed, he reflected on the journey so far. The signs were undeniable, the experiences profound, and the sense of purpose overwhelming. He realized that blessings were not just rewards, they were responsibilities. Days turned into weeks, and Michael's life continued to transform in ways he never imagined. Opportunities seemed to appear from nowhere. Relationships deepened, and his sense of purpose grew stronger. Yet, as he had learned from the priest, blessings often come with tests, and Michael was about to face his greatest one yet. It began with a message from a family member he hadn't spoken to in years. His father, who had always been distant, suddenly reached out, asking to meet. Michael's heart raced. He had unresolved feelings, hurt, disappointment, and longing for connection. But deep down, he felt this meeting was more than coincidence. It was part of the path God had set before him. When they met, the conversation was difficult. Old wounds resurfaced, words were exchanged that stung, and Michael felt the temptation to withdraw. But he remembered the priest's words, "Blessings come not just in joy, but in reconciliation." Courage to forgive is a key to receiving the greatest gifts. Taking a deep breath, Michael chose forgiveness over pride. He listened, he spoke from the heart, and slowly, a bridge began to form where there had once been only distance. That evening, he felt a profound sense of peace, a confirmation that God was guiding him through every step. But challenges were not limited to family. At work, a major project that Michael had been leading faced a sudden crisis. A key partner pulled out, deadlines loomed, and colleagues started doubting his leadership. Panic threatened to take hold, but Michael remembered the signs that had guided him so far. He prayed deeply, seeking wisdom and clarity. In a quiet moment of reflection, an idea struck him, a new approach that none had considered. With courage and faith, he proposed the plan to his team. At first, skepticism met him, but gradually, one by one, his colleagues began to support the vision. By the end of the week, the project was not only back on track but had surpassed expectations. Michael realized something crucial. Blessings often require action. They are not passive rewards but invitations to step into purpose with courage and faith. One night, a mysterious envelope appeared on his doorstep. Inside was a small card with a single phrase: "Your faith is about to be rewarded. Prepare your heart for the greatest blessings yet." Michael's chest tightened with anticipation. He didn't know exactly what was coming, but he trusted. He had learned that the journey of faith often requires patience, courage, and unwavering belief in God's timing. Then the unexpected happened. A close friend, someone he had trusted completely, betrayed him. Confidential information was leaked, and Michael's reputation was suddenly at risk. The betrayal was shocking, and for the first time, doubt and fear crept in. That night, he sat in prayer longer than ever before. "God," he whispered, tears streaming down his face, "I don't understand. Why now? Why this?" A quiet stillness filled the room, unlike anything he had felt before. And then the familiar voice in his heart spoke gently but firmly. "Michael, do not lose faith. This challenge is not the end, it is a part of your blessing. Stand firm, forgive, and continue with integrity. The path you are on is leading you to a purpose far greater than you can imagine." Michael realized that every test, every setback, every moment of doubt was a part of the divine plan. The blessings he had been promised were not simply material or external, they were spiritual, emotional, and deeply transformational. The days that followed were not easy. He faced scrutiny, whispers, and tension. Yet, he acted with grace, humility, and unwavering faith. Slowly, the truth came to light. The betrayal was exposed, his integrity remained intact, and those who doubted him were inspired by his resilience. And then, as if to confirm that faith and perseverance bring divine reward, Michael began receiving blessings beyond measure. Financial opportunities opened that he had never dreamed of. Relationships deepened with trust and love. And, most importantly, a sense of purpose and fulfillment filled his heart like never before. Michael understood finally what the priest had meant. Blessings are not simply gifts, they are transformations. They shape character, strengthen faith, and expand the capacity to impact the lives of others. He looked around at his life, the challenges he had faced, the tests he had endured, and the growth he had experienced. And in that moment, he knew that God's promise was real. Big blessings were not just coming, they were already here, unfolding in every part of his life. The morning sun broke through the clouds like a promise, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink. Michael woke with a deep sense of anticipation, a feeling that today, something extraordinary was about to unfold. Over the past few weeks, life had tested him, challenged him, and shaped him in ways he never imagined, but now he could feel the first waves of the blessings God had promised. He started his day with prayer, kneeling by his bedside and whispering words of gratitude and hope. "Thank you, God, for being with me through everything. I am ready for your blessings. I am ready to live fully in your purpose." As he stepped outside, small miracles began appearing one after another. A neighbor he had barely spoken to returned a favor he hadn't even asked for. A chance meeting at a cafe led to a powerful new partnership, and messages of encouragement arrived from unexpected people, all reinforcing the truth that God's timing was perfect. At work, the project that had faced setbacks began to thrive beyond expectations. Clients praised the innovation, colleagues admired his leadership, and the company recognized his contribution in a way that surpassed mere acknowledgement. It felt almost divinely orchestrated. Michael realized that blessings often arrive in layers, not all at once, and each layer builds upon the one before. But the most profound blessings were not material, they were personal, emotional, and spiritual. Michael reconnected with his father, mending a bond that had been broken for years. He forgave old friends who had hurt him, healed relationships that had once seemed impossible, and found peace in the reconciliation that had once felt so distant. One evening, he attended a community gathering organized by the church. Hundreds of people had come, each seeking inspiration, hope, and guidance. Michael, invited as a guest speaker, shared his story, the journey of faith, the challenges, the tests, and the miraculous blessings that had transformed his life. As I walked through life, Michael told the crowd, I realized something powerful. Blessings are not always what we expect. Sometimes they come as challenges, as tests of faith. But if we trust, if we hold on to hope, if we act with integrity, the blessings are far greater than anything we could imagine. The audience was moved. Tears glistened in eyes, hearts were inspired, and many felt a renewed connection to their own faith. Michael realized that the greatest blessing of all was the ability to impact others, to share the light he had received so that it might ignite hope in someone else. As days turned into weeks, Michael's life blossomed in ways he never dreamed possible. Opportunities for growth, service, and leadership continued to flow. He began mentoring young professionals, volunteering in community projects, and investing in causes that brought lasting change. Each act of kindness, each effort to uplift others, felt like a reflection of the blessings he had received. Yet, amidst all this abundance, Michael remained humble and grounded. He understood that blessings are not possessions, they are responsibilities. They are a call to live with purpose, to be a channel of God's love and grace in the world. One quiet evening, Michael returned to the church. The priest greeted him warmly. I see that you have received the blessings, he said, but more importantly, you have understood their true meaning. True blessings are not for the self alone, they are for the world, for lifting others, and for living in alignment with God's will. Michael smiled, a deep sense of fulfillment in his heart. He had walked a path of faith, endured tests, faced betrayal, and embraced challenges, and through it all, he had been guided by an invisible hand, leading him toward blessings far greater than he could have imagined. As he left the church and walked into the twilight, the sky ablaze with color, Michael felt a sense of completeness. He knew that life would continue to have challenges, but now he carried within him a faith unshakable, a hope unwavering, and a heart open to the endless possibilities of God's blessings. And in that moment, he whispered to the universe, "Thank you, God. I am ready. I am ready for all that you have planned." The blessings had arrived, not as a fleeting moment, but as a life transformed, a heart renewed, and a soul awakened. The city was quiet as dawn broke, the streets bathed in a soft golden light. Michael woke with a deep sense of anticipation, a feeling that today would mark not just another chapter in his life, but a new beginning altogether. The journey had been long tests of faith, challenges, betrayals, but every step had led him here, to a place where he could finally see the full picture. He began his day with prayer, kneeling in gratitude. "Thank you, God," he whispered, "for every trial, every lesson, every blessing that has brought me here. I am ready for what you have planned." As he stepped outside, a gentle breeze brushed past him, carrying with it a strange sense of peace and hope. Small miracles seemed to greet him everywhere. A child smiling warmly at him on the street, a stranger helping an elderly man cross the road, messages of encouragement arriving unexpectedly. It felt as though the entire universe was aligned in harmony, celebrating the blessings that were unfolding in his life. At work, Michael faced his final challenge. A groundbreaking project he had been nurturing for months was on the verge of fruition, but a last-minute obstacle threatened to derail everything. Yet, instead of panic, he felt clarity. Each decision he had made, every lesson he had learned, had prepared him for this exact moment. He gathered his team and spoke with conviction. We've come this far because of faith, persistence, and integrity. Today, we move forward together not just to complete a project, but to create something that will touch lives, inspire others, and honor the purpose we were given. The team, inspired by his words and example, rallied behind him. Against all odds, the project succeeded beyond expectations, drawing praise, recognition, and even international attention. Michael realized that this was more than just professional success. It was the manifestation of the divine blessings that had been promised to him. But the greatest blessings were not material. Michael reconnected with loved ones in ways he had never imagined. His relationship with his father blossomed into trust and love. Friends who had once doubted him became allies and partners in purpose. And, most importantly, Michael discovered a profound inner peace, a sense that he was exactly where he was meant to be, living the life he was created to live. One evening, he received an invitation to speak at a spiritual gathering, an event that brought together thousands seeking guidance, hope, and inspiration. Standing before the crowd, Michael shared his story, the journey of trials, faith, and the miraculous blessings that had transformed his life. As I walked through life, he said, I realized that blessings are not always what we expect. Sometimes they come as challenges, as tests of faith. But if we trust, if we act with courage, and if we open our hearts to God's guidance, blessings are not just received, they are lived. They become a force for good, a light to those around us, and a path toward purpose. The crowd listened in awe. Tears flowed freely, hearts opened, and a wave of hope spread through the gathering. Michael understood that the ultimate blessing was not what he had received, but what he could now give: love, guidance, and inspiration to others. As the event concluded, Michael stepped outside into the twilight. The sky glowed with colors so